Ian, thank you for making time to talk to me this afternoon. It's always a pleasure. I have no idea really what you're going to say in a minute, but for the sake of everybody who's bothering to watch this, Ian is a problem-solving structural thinker. If you want to know what that means, it means he's got over 100 patents and about the same number of trade secrets locked away in problems he's solved for Rolls-Royce and for other companies. So Ian, I wanted to ask you about what seems to me to be one of the central problems about alternative fuels, which is what engineers call the energy density. Can you explain what the problem is and whether there's any way of solving this?
Yes, the problem that we've got is that something like a 747 is the equivalent of the bumblebee. When you look at it, we wonder how can it possibly take off?
Yeah.
You've got an aircraft unladen weighing over 500 tons and you put more stuff on it, passengers, freight, and we still manage to take off. And your fuel is a large part of that weight. And it's one of the reasons why very long range aircraft aren't as economic as the mid-range aircraft, because of the fuel that you're putting on, and that you need all that extra energy and fuel to burn just to take off with the extra weight of fuel.
Right.
So it's all about energy density. If you double the weight of that fuel by perhaps, say, having a set of batteries which give the same amount of energy, you've got that problem. Is what is my range for the weight that I've got on that aircraft? And so the same thing comes with hydrogen, and everyone thinks of hydrogen as being lighter than air, but it's the amount of energy that you get out for the weight that you're carrying. So even when you liquefy it, then you have to put in a safety matrix for the hydrogen to be within so it doesn't explode at the first spark. You've then got the cryogenic pumps and things to keep the hydrogen liquefied while it's on board. All of that is adding to that weight of the aircraft, and therefore the energy that you get out of the fuel for the weight that you're trying to get into the air. And we're already at that bumblebee stage. What we really want to do is to go the other way and to be some very flexible, very maneuverable small insect. But particularly the large aircraft, that's where you get an issue of that. And that's why people are looking at things like biofuels, where they're saying is, well, let's have a hydrocarbon, but produce it in a different way.
Yeah.
People think, well, what about solar power? But again, it's down to the energy density. If you can make your solar power instrument part of the structure of the essential structure of the aircraft, then at least you're getting some power for the weight that you're already having to carry. But at the moment, the solar power technology isn't good enough to give you enough energy out per minute or per unit of time for that to be worthwhile. Even if you're taking off during daylight hours or going above the clouds and only flying in, or following the sun, sometimes you want to fly the other way around the world and fly through the night.
Yes.
So all of these, it's good for us to work on them, but they're just that little bit out of our reach at the moment.
If you had to guess, Ian, which technology was likely to win through in the end, which do you think it would be?
I think what we will do is have a synthetic hydrocarbon. We will probably pass it through a reformer so that we can charge our internal batteries. And we will have a hybrid system of some stored power and some conventional combustion power. And I suspect that what we will do is either go the whole hog down to little micro turbines, so it's almost like replacing a light bulb if one of them fails. So if you had 1,000 fans along your leading edge of your wing, one fails, it's only a fraction of a percent, and you can still carry on flying.
Right.
And when you land, if you make it so simple, because it's so small, it's like swapping a light bulb, or just, and you can probably do it as faster than the person can come in and clean the toilets.
Do you think anybody's working on that, Ian?
Yes. Several years ago, when I was on the team that went out to Boeing, and we were working on the more electric aircraft, more electric engine, we deliberately used that word more rather than saying all electric. Because what we recognized was that in some of the systems we tested, was hydraulics better? Was it better to have a mechanical system? And again, what we were doing was looking at the weight that we were carrying for the function that we got from it. And what you're seeing now in some of the more modern aircraft is, for instance, a localized hydraulic system with a crossfeed, so that if another system were to fail,
right,
you can crossfeed across to it.
Yeah.
So it's giving that redundancy that we don't, or even more redundancy than we had before. But what it's doing is saying, for this particular job, the hydraulics gives us something that the electrics doesn't.
Right.
And that can be it's lighter, or it can be that it's giving us not just a force, but also a suspension type or a vibration suppression that the electrics would find difficult to do.
Right. Ian, thank you very much for that explanation. I think I finally understand the nature. And it sounds like a very intractable problem. It's not going to get solved quickly, is it?
No, but that's why we need people of lots of different disciplines to come together. And that's what happened at Boeing. We had over 1,000 people from different suppliers there, all batting their ideas off against each other. And we did some mock-ups and we even designed an all hydraulic aircraft to see how big would it be and which were the systems that worked best. And we designed an all electric aircraft with the technology that we had at the time.
Right.
We even tried an all pneumatic one to see what would happen, whether there was any benefits of having pneumatics in there.
Right. Well, we obviously need lots of innovation. So let's hope, Ian, that lots of people are coming along with your ability to come up with those patents and trade secrets. Thank you very much.